I'm Dr. Tom Crawford. I'm a mathematician at St Edmund Hall at the University of Oxford, and I've mathematically proven the greatest player of all time.
It's a debate as old as the sport itself. Who is the best player of all time? LiveScore have turned to maths to prove that their official global ambassador, Cristiano Ronaldo, is the greatest ever. There are, of course, more than a few household names in the discussion, not least the likes of Lionel Messi, Pelé and Diego Maradona. Every football fan in the world will have a favourite, for whom they will go to battle in pubs, in stadiums and online. But with the help of one of the most pre-eminent mathematicians on the internet, LiveScore have come up with an answer. This is the GOAT Index.
I think my brain tends to work in patterns and work with numbers. So when I see the world, I'm constantly spotting patterns and thinking about the numerical value of the things that I'm observing. When I first heard about this idea, I was, to be honest, incredibly excited. It was an opportunity to use my knowledge of maths and my skills in data manipulation and mathematical modelling and apply it to my favourite pastime, which is football. Our starting point is going to be to come up with a shortlist of the top 10 greatest players of all time before I can then dive more deeply into the data. Any player to be included must have won at least 2 Ballons d'Or. This gave an initial list of 13 players. I then created 7 categories. In order to remain in the top 10, a player had to score highly across each of the 7 categories. Our final top 10 features Cristiano Ronaldo, Lionel Messi, Pelé, Diego Maradona, Marco van Basten, Johan Cruyff, Ferenc Puskas, Alfredo Di Stefano, Ronaldo, and Michel Platini.
And so to the first of those categories, club titles.
For each league victory, a player will be awarded the UEFA coefficient for that particular season. The UEFA coefficient is calculated by UEFA to give a sense of how difficult a particular league is in a particular time period. For domestic cups, I'm going to take the UEFA coefficient and then divide by 2. For Champions Leagues and European Cups, the sum of the top 2 UEFA coefficients for that particular season, and that score is then allocated for a Champions League or European Cup victory. For those players who have won titles in multiple countries, a multiplication factor of 1.5 was used to multiply the points awarded. If there was then a third country, this would be 1.5 squared, giving a factor of 2.25.
All of that means that Cristiano Ronaldo takes the full 100 points in the first round. His performances at club level across Europe set him apart from the likes of Lionel Messi and Alfredo Di Stefano, the bulk of whose club achievements came only in Spain. But what about international titles?
There are 3 main trophies that I'm going to consider. For a World Cup, the maximum allocation of points is 150. For a European Championship and a Copa America, they will be awarded out of 100. The actual number of points distributed is determined by the seeding or the ranking of the team to win that particular tournament. So the formula is given as maximum number of points for a World Cup is 150, and then you subtract 150 divided by the seeding of the team plus 1. To take into account the importance of a particular player to a victory, if the player was a standout performer in the tournament or won a golden ball or the golden boot for the top scorer, then the total points awarded will be multiplied by 3.
In round 2, it's Brazilian Ronaldo who takes the full 100 points, which pushes him into first place overall. With 2 World Cups and 2 Copa America titles to his name, as well as several individual accolades from those tournaments, he leaves the rest of the top 10 trailing in his wake.
I've been playing football and following football pretty much all my life. So I think I first played when I was 5 or 6 and found my feet as a winger / striker. I'm the one with the gold boots on the pitch, to be honest. Ultimately, I decided that goals were going to play an important role in the calculation. They were by no means the only thing that was considered, because we have the titles and other things coming in. But I think If you generally take a step back, how do you win a game of football? You have to score a goal.
And that brings us on to categories 3 and 4, goals for your club and goals for your country.
And we're going to start with goals scored for a club. The allocation of points here is determined by the total number of goals scored multiplied by the goals per game factor for that particular player.
And that means that Ferenc Puskás takes the top spot for club goals, being the only player in the top 10 to boast a goals per game ratio better than 1. Pelé's strong showing moves him into the top spot, for now at least.
For international goals, the points allocation is slightly different. Here, it's just a straight allocation of points based on the number of goals scored. With Cristiano Ronaldo being the current all-time international leading goal scorer, he of course comes out on top and scores the maximum 100 points in this category.
Cristiano Ronaldo's world-leading international goals tally means he far outstrips the rest of the shortlist here, and he overtakes both Pelé and Lionel Messi to regain his spot at the top of the standings. Next, we come to category number 5, the Ballon d'Or.
I've taken the number of votes awarded to the winner and divided that by the total number of votes awarded to the top 3 players. This is then multiplied by 100 to give a percentage, and that value is the number of points awarded for each Ballon d'Or victory. Earlier in its history, South American players were unable to be eligible for the award. Here, I've used the retrospective awards, which were announced in 2015 by France Football, the organisation who award the Ballon d'Or. The points allocated for these retrospective victories were the same as those that were awarded to the original winner in that particular year.
With all of that said, it's Pelé who takes the maximum score in this round with 7 retrospective Ballon d'Or. And that is enough to put him within 1 point of Cristiano Ronaldo at the top of the standings. Next up, category number 6. Records.
So here we're thinking about the most number of goals scored internationally, the most number of goals scored for a particular club or in a particular competition. And here I've awarded 100 points for a standout record holder, and if that record is shared, then they will be given 50 points. Cristiano Ronaldo has the most world records with 5. These are most goals in the European Championships, most goals in the Champions League, most goals for Portugal, and he also is the record international goal scorer, and he also holds the record for the most goals scored in the Club World Cup.
Cristiano Ronaldo's dominance of the record category gives him the 100-point score and moves him into a commanding lead over Pelé at the top of the standings. Tom's final category concerns the seasons in which a player might carry his team to glory. These are the campaigns which are mathematically outstanding, as defined by something called the Z factor.
This is a statistic used in maths to represent how outstanding or exceptional a particular event is, and you can convert this into a probability or a likelihood of that event happening. Here, what I've decided to do is to calculate the Z factors based on the 5 years previous to a particular season. And anytime a value comes out above 1, this is deemed to be an exceptional season. In the 2013-14 Champions League season, Cristiano Ronaldo had a particular standout campaign with 17 goals. This equated to a Z factor of 2.4 and ultimately led Real Madrid to the trophy. Ronaldo's 17 goals were 6 above the 5-year average of 11, and here the standard deviation was 2.5. Plugging those numbers into our Z factor formula gives the value of 2.4. The Z factors were used to allocate points in 2 ways. First, the factor itself was used to multiply the points awarded for winning a particular title in that season, because quite clearly from their standout performance, that player was instrumental in the victory. Second, the Z factors themselves were multiplied by 10 if the campaign occurred in a league season to give a number of points, or if it was a Z factor season in the Champions League or the Copa Libertadores, that was multiplied by 20.
It's Lionel Messi who takes the top score for this final category after a string of outstanding seasons, most notably in 2011-12, but Cristiano Ronaldo's 71-point haul is enough to secure his place at the top of the standings. Out of a maximum of 700, the Portuguese forward scores 537. And as with each of the 7 categories, Tom has scaled those final results down to 100. With his final score of 100, 6 points ahead of the nearest challenger, LiveScore's official global ambassador Cristiano Ronaldo is, according to the maths, the greatest player of all time.